Mistral again in the news. They've launched their latest one called Codestral, which is more focused towards code generation. And while Mistral has been more focused on, they've launched multiple set of models. The latest model that they launched was a closed source model. They've been more focused on open source, right? And a lot of these models, and I think they were one of the first to commercially launch the mixture of experts model, right? And since then, it's been widely adapted. This is the first code generation model that they've actually launched, right? Now, what is the differentiator? While, Shiva, we're yet to try it, right? But what's the differentiator that they're bringing on the table is, one is that they claim that this model is super efficient in 80 plus programming languages, and Python, obviously, the most accepted, is covered in this, number one. And number two, they're claiming this to be one of the best and one of the most advanced models when it comes to code completion, right? And number three is that what they've highlighted is that this does both, right? Where you can actually do NLP based, code generation and code completion, code generation, and at the same time provide code snippets. And the model has inherent capabilities of completing or ironing out those code snippets for the functionality, right? So how does this perform? And again, just one last point, it's an open weights model that they've actually released, right? Now, how does this perform? Obviously, is something that we'll have to see. But again, while we cover the MNP piece or the latest licensing model that they've actually launched, this is the first model under the latest licensing that they've launched under MNP, right, for non-production. So, yeah.
And
Again,
yeah, let's cover that part now,
yeah.
right? What does MNPL means? It's Mistral Non-Production License. Uh, Basically, what they're saying is, guys, use it for developer purposes, but if you want to charge your any app that you build on top of it, you'll have to buy the license. So I mean, it's just another way to say it is commercial license. So I have, I mean, I think Rishabh and I were debating on this just before we started this podcast, and this is like I mean, you can be super open and say, hey, this is commercial license. MNPL is just another bullshit term that they've coined. How many terms that people will continue to keep in mind? It is non-commercial. It's not commercial. Period. Anyway, so they have launched, yeah. So the license is MNPL, and all this balance, openness, and sustainability. That's I don't know. That's where things get really, really. What is the term they say? Cringe. It's a cringe. They get into the cringe aspect because you don't have to do that. Mistral is not supposed to. It's not a company who used to do all these, right? Like they launched a model on torrent. That is the kind of company now who has to now come back and say probably investor pressure. They're saying, hey, start making money, guys. Like just don't give everything in open. Probably. I think this language looks like something that their marketing team wrote or their technical team wrote actually. So yeah, that's the whole thing is
But
funny.
Shiva,
Just say
in their
commercial, move on.
defense, right? No, I'm saying in their defense, right, and that's what we have always say in defense of OpenAI. These models are not easy to build, right? You need to have some kind of commercial support, and that's why probably the latest model that they launched is a
Agreed.
commercial model, right? It's a closed source model, right? So I think
Yeah,
slowly
just
they
say
also
commercial and move
realize,
on. Yeah, just say commercial and move on. See, they don't want to lose the tag of an open source model. Imagine what's happening. When Mistral Large was launched, they already kind of people started questioning, hey, you guys said you're going to be open source and what happened? Now today, Llama 3 is the only true open source model in the market.
yeah,
Meta's Llama. Mistral is no more open source with what they've done so far, right? They're saying, hey, I'll give it for free for developers, but you can't do anything about it. And what would developers do with all of it? What are developers going to build a multi-million dollar company with it? No. Can developers even build it and use it for any internal purposes within an enterprise? No, you cannot do anything about it. It's literally like saying I'm going to give you something for you to train and learn, and why would I train and learn with your non-developer license? I can obviously use GPT, I can use other models. They're much better than your model. So yeah, long story short, they are obviously going towards commercial licenses. They are getting into the mix where GPT still owns 95% of the market share. Whatever is left behind is owned by Claude and Gemini. Because GPT not only owns directly with folks like us, GPT also owns through Azure
absolutely.
actually. So this is probably their last attempt to figure out if they can make money. We just have to wait and see if something turns out, because their model has to be really good. GPT is good, period, no doubts about it. Can their model be good? I mean, others like Anthropic and Gemini are competing with GPT to be really good, right? I mean, you and I are seeing. I mean, I was building some code in the morning. I don't have to think twice to figure out, should I use Claude, should I use Gemini, should I use GPT. I went to GPT, it worked fine. I deployed it and started using the application as is. I was able to share with a couple of customers just like that, built on Lizer agents in the backend, obviously making it easier. So can Mistral get to that level? Because Mistral does not have the distribution power like Google has and Anthropic with Amazon has. So
Absolutely.
can Mistral get to that level? That is a big question. So that's the reason I'm saying either be on the open source, or if you're entering the commercial model, say commercial. This whole MNPL is like just
Oh
yeah.
gosh.
I've already said that term. Yeah, BS. It's all BS. Yeah.
No, but see, I think you absolutely rightly pointed out one point, right, Shiva, is that one obviously is the model's accuracy, model's usability, etc. But the distribution power is like very strong, and it's as like I mean, Android story goes long way, right? What Google did with Android, right? Uh, but see, Mistral is probably playing some cards right, at least to a certain extent. Well, now you have most of the Mistral's model available on Bedrock. But one problem or one challenge that we still see is right that they don't have the early mover advantage on these distribution platforms. Now, Anthropic, which was available as a very early model on Bedrock, is now available on Vertex AI as well with Google, right? Mistral probably still remains from distribution accessibility perspective a limited model, or probably even on platforms like Bedrock, it was a late entrant. So it's not the first choice even for providers like us, right? So I think that's where they need to focus on rather than probably launching newer models or probably giving more options, etc. If they want to remain relevant in this commercial space, right?